All right, welcome back to the channel. So Andre Ward a few days ago was featured on The Good Fight with Katie Abidu. Shout out to her. If you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to her. And they was talking about the belts, and Andre Ward had to express his thoughts on why do we have the belts for. So I'm gonna break it down to y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please share that you like and subscribe to the channel, and also share the video to get all your latest boxing news. And remember to hit that bell icon to always be notified when I release this boxing news. So with that being said, I'm going to play some audio for you, and I'm going to break it down to you guys on why I think that the sanctioning bodies of the belts is so on and so forth. So I'm going to play the audio for y'all. So let me play this.
I think it was like 2013, you weren't able to defend because you were injured, and so the WBC strip you of the title. They hand that to somebody else, and they want to make you champion emeritus, or whatever they call it, right? And you said, no, thank you, I don't want it. Because basically it was just a way for a sanctioning body to get two sanctioning fees within the same weight division. That's super interesting to me. What's your opinion now on sanctioning bodies that continue to create that same kind of confusion by having multiple champions within the same division?
I don't like them. And I'm gonna talk about this in the book. Maybe I'm ignorant toward the finer details, but I really need somebody to help me understand, what does the sanctioning bodies do? How do they justify a percentage of your gross pay? 3% to be exact. In multiple belts, it doesn't stay at 3%, it goes up 3% per belt.
So you guys heard that, right? So the people that don't know, he just said that each time that you win a belt in a sanctioning body, so let's say Errol Spence Jr. is the unified welterweight champion of the world. Errol Spence has to pay 3% per belt. So that's 9% that Errol Spence has to pay. So let's continue what Andre Ward has to say.
Oh, they supervise, the fight, and they send their officials. You have commissions for that. Why doesn't California and New York, and I think it's like a mixture, like if I fight for the WBO belt, they'll have a WBO official sitting ringside with the patch that says WBO. No disrespect, but we don't need that. If that's going to cost me 3%, I don't need that official presiding over the event. We have a whole commission. That's their job. I just think the sanctioning bodies and, the amount of sanctioning bodies we have is just one of those things in boxing that have been around for a long time, and nobody questions it. And we just think it's appropriate and okay to take fees out of a fighter's purse.
I have to agree. First of all, we need to find out answers on why do the sanctioning bodies need to take a certain percentage out of their check. This is a very good prime example. When Keith Thurman was on the verge of coming back, and there was already starting promotion for him and Mario Barrios. Keith Thurman had stated that the WBC had called him for some oddly reason about, are you good to make weight and stuff like that. And miraculously, when Keith Thurman beat Mario Barrios, he was number 3 in the sanctioned body, which Boots was number 3 in that sanctioned body. But magically, Keith Thurman appeared back into the sanctioned body belts, and Keith Thurman wasn't even called by the WBC in years. But when he finally started to make his return, then the WBC wanted to get involved. That means that these belts doesn't make the that the fighters makes the belts. The belts doesn't make the fighter. So they just called Keith Thurman out of the blue to promote their belt. So let's continue on to see what Andre Ward had to say.
Purse. Now, some fighters, when they get into a position and they have the leverage, you can negotiate. And I'm going to go ahead.
Okay, that is very interesting. So, as you see, Errol Spence Jr., I'm going to use Errol Spence Jr. as a prime example. We know that Errol Spence Jr., when he started out early in his career, he wasn't asking for purse splits and stuff like that. But when Errol Spence Jr. star power started to go through the roof and stuff like that, and Gervonta Tank Davis as well, star power started to go to the roof. Then you can start asking for purse splits. I never knew that, and that's very interesting as well. So all this 60-40 talk, 50-50 or no fight, or whatever the case may be with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., they have no business trying to argue over a purse split. Whoever's doing in my opinion, whoever's doing the bigger numbers and bringing in the crowd, that's the guy that should discuss the purse split, not the guy, because Terrence Crawford's the B side. I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, but let's continue what Andre Ward had to say. Sorry, guys.
And put that nugget out there for fighters. You can negotiate. Like, everybody's not paying. Floyd Mayweather's not paying 3% of what he fought Manny Pacquiao, like, guaranteed. Manny Pacquiao's not paying 3%. At that point, the sanctioning body, they switch gears, and they're like, well, we're just happy to be a part of it, and then you can negotiate a flat fee or a smaller percentage. But I don't like it, Kate. I don't understand what they do for the money. We can't say that we hate seeing fighters broke at the end of their careers, and fighters got, they got responsibility there too. They got to become financially literate and try to figure things out personally. So there's a personal responsibility, but it doesn't help when you have everybody's hand in your pot, promoters, managers, sanctioning bodies, and who God knows who else. It's a problem. What do the sanctioning bodies do to justify taking that kind of percentage from a fighter's purse? I'll wait.
I have to agree. I mean, 3% may not be a lot to us as a diehard boxing fans, but eventually that percentage starts to add up. So, okay, so let's bring up this point here. When you go for undisputed, right, each belt is 3%. So all in total, that's 12% that you're taking out of your check. And a lot of people have been asking for a long time. Only a few fighters have asked about this. Now, I understand fighters want undisputed. I understand they know the consequences of the percentage they have to pay. And when you're in a position like Errol Spence Jr., Gervonta Tank Davis, Deontay Wilder, money doesn't matter at that point because, like Andre Ward says, you can start calling the shots for purse splits. But if you get a guy, let's say Bernard Hopkins at that time. Let's say Bernard Hopkins wasn't making that much money, but he wanted to go for undisputed. So they're legitimately taking 12% out of Bernard Hopkins' check. So whatever purse split that Bernard Hopkins, let's say he made maybe $20 to $15 million when he fought for undisputed, right? They take out 12%. So you don't know how much they're taking out of money for the sanctioned bodies fees. So the fighters make the belts. The belts doesn't make the fighters. And this is ridiculous. I feel like these guys doesn't need belts at all. Like Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, why you think every time he won a belt, he vacated it? Because he didn't want to pay the percentage, And when Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao for a belt, I believe they told Manny Pacquiao he had to pay the percentage as well to fight for this belt. So it's absolutely ridiculous on why you have to pay sanction and body fees. I don't understand it. I don't know what they're doing with the money. And I'm going to bring up this last example, and I'm going to get on out of here, guys. I'm going to hold up your time. So you see the promotion stuff that guys have on their shorts. Let's say like Hennessy, BioFreeze, whatever the case may be, any type of promotion they have on their shorts, right? That means that they're helping promote their brand, but they might have to pay a certain percentage out of that just promoting their brand. So that's why you see fighters with sponsorships, and also you see them with the sanctioning bodies, the WBC, the IBF, the WBA, the WBO. You see that tag on their shorts, but they have to pay a fee, and it lets you know they're in the sanctioned body to compete for the belt, but still they have to pay a percentage for that belt. So even if you have the WBO belt, the IBF, the WBA, the WBC, and you guys better look out for the IBO because that's going to be a major sanctioned body soon, you're going to have to pay a certain percentage. And a lot of people like the WBA and the WBC, with WBA, they was talking about we need to limit these belts because it's starting to get confusing. No, y'all don't want to limit the belts because y'all know every time each fighter wins a belt, they're going to be paying a certain percentage. So I can have the regular belt, the gold belt, the silver belt, the platinum belt, even if it ain't a major belt, I got to pay 3% just to have that belt to promote your brand. Fighters need to take control of this because if you want to be a big star, The belts doesn't make you the most money. And I'm hearing fighters say all the time, if you get all the belts, if you collect the belts, your check will get big. No, that's not true. Your check gets big off promotion. You have to be promoted right in order to get the big check. So you have to do stuff in order to get your name out there. Let's say giving back to the community. Let's say helping kids out. Let's say Make-A-Wish Foundation. You have to do stuff in order to promote your brand, to build your brand up, and so people can start being interested in you and purchasing the pay-per-views. And that's how you get big revenue. Look what Errol Spence Jr. did. He built himself from the ground up, and look what the good things came along. He's got the Dallas Cowboy teams backing him. Errol Spence Jr. is out here doing things behind the scenes we don't know about. Why you guys think he's such a big star in that caliber with Deontay Wilder and Gervonta Tank Davis and all the others, right? Look at Charlo. Charlo being crazy outside the sport of boxing. Look how big his name has gotten since he won those belts. It's all about how you promote yourself. It's not about the belts. You don't have to have the belts to be a mega star. Look at Jaime Munguia. He may have a belt, but if Jaime Munguia wants to be real and not have that belt, he can do it because you know why? His Mexican people back him up. He's probably getting paid a close to $1 million, and he don't even have a major belt, but they're taking a percentage out. So these fighters need to wake up. Andre Ward broke this down perfectly. If you guys haven't, go check out the fight with Kate Abidu. Shout out to her. Go subscribe to the channel, support the sister. But at the end of the day, like Andre Ward says, what are they doing with that percentage? The question begs to differ. So with that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.